Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Weekday. Today's episode is for the people who feel guilty for changing their minds. For the ones who say yes and then lay awake at night thinking, why did I say yes? For the ones who outgrow plans, people, goals, or versions of themselves, and then they feel like they've somehow failed. Let me say this very clearly right out of the gate, okay? You are allowed to change your mind. Changing your mind doesn't mean that you're flaky, okay? It doesn't mean that you've lied. It doesn't mean that you've wasted any time. It means that you've learned something. And learning something new is kind of the whole point of being alive in the first place. There's always this kind of pressure to be consistent. You know what I mean? Somewhere along the way, we were taught that consistency is the ultimate virtue, right? That once you commit, you gotta stick it out, no matter how miserable you are. We glorify the idea of finishing what you started, but we don't talk nearly enough about why we started or whether that reason even still fits. Here's the thing that no one says out loud, okay? The version of you that made the decision back then didn't have the information that you have now. You didn't know how it would feel. You didn't know what it would cost you. You didn't know what it would take from your peace, your body, your time, or your happiness. So why do we keep expecting that past you made a perfect decision without incomplete information, right? That's not strength. That's unrealistic. Changing your mind is actually a sign of growth. It means that you paid attention. It means that you checked in with yourself. And it means that you noticed the misalignment instead of ignoring it. Growth is very uncomfortable because it requires a course of correction. You know what I mean? And the course of correction can sometimes feel a little embarrassing and also, not to mention, a little unnerving. We worry about what people will say. Like, you were so excited about this, or I thought this was your dream, or didn't you just say last month that this was exactly what you wanted? Well, yeah, I did. And then I learned more. That's allowed, okay? A lot of us don't stay because it's right. We stay because we don't want to disappoint anyone. We stay in jobs because someone took a chance on us. We stay in relationships because we've already invested so much time. We stay in commitments because backing out feels like letting people down. But here's a hard truth. Staying in something that no longer fits you doesn't make you noble. It makes you resentful. And resentment drips. It drips into your tone. It drips into your energy. It drips into how you show up. Sometimes the kindest thing for you and for others is to be honest sooner rather than later. Changing your mind early is a kindness. Changing your mind late is still allowed. So let's clear this up, okay? Changing your mind is not quitting because it's hard. Avoiding discomfort that leads to growth, or running every time something requires effort. There's a difference between this. And there's also a difference between this is hard, but it's aligned. And this is draining. This is shrinking me. This is costing me more than it gives. Only you get to decide which one you're in. Consider this, I don't know, your official permission slip, if you will. You're allowed to change your mind about who you are. You're allowed to change your mind about what you want. You're allowed to change your mind about what you tolerate. and you are allowed to change your mind about what your life looks like. You are not behind. You are not wrong. You are responding to new information, and that's wisdom. Here's another weekday challenge for you, if you're even up for it. Look at one area of your life and ask yourself, if I were deciding today with what I know now, would I still choose this? I'm not asking you to act, at least not yet. Just be honest. Write it down, sit with it, notice what comes up. Awareness comes before change. Next week, we're talking about something that stops a lot of us from changing our minds in the first place, and that's a fear of being judged. What people think, what people say, and how much power we hand over when we live our lives for an imaginary audience. If you've ever felt stuck because you were worried about being judged than being happy, this episode will be just for you. I know it will. As always, be gentle with yourself and remember, you were allowed to change your mind. I'll see you next weekday. Stay real, stay raw, stay curious.